Hello and welcome to Main Street Matters by Heart on Main Street, the podcast that believes the best way to compete is to stop competing. I am your host, Patrick Keiser. We are now in episode 3 of our 10-part series on John Jantsch's Duct Tape Marketing. If you've been following along, you know that we started with the Marketing Hourglass, a 7-stage roadmap for turning strangers into loyal advocates. Last episode, in episode 2, we tackled the myth that everyone is your customer and learned how to define your ideal customer profile. Today, we're diving into something that every independent retailer struggles with but absolutely needs to master: standing out. Here's the hard truth. In most towns, you're not the only boutique or gift shop or coffee shop. People can buy similar products online, at chain stores, or maybe even at another shop just a block away. If you sound like everyone else, if your marketing is generic, you will disappear into the noise. John Jantsch puts it this way: if you can't quickly communicate what makes you different, then to your customers, you're just another option. The solution is what Jantsch calls your talking logo. A simple, memorable phrase or positioning statement that instantly tells people who you are, what you do, and why they should care. In today's episode, we'll explore what a talking logo is, why it matters, how independent retailers can create one, and we'll look at real-world examples of Main Street shops that got it right. And as always, we'll finish with 3 practical steps that you can take this week to start crafting your own. So stand out, don't get in line, it's book club time. Let's start with the big picture. Why does standing out matter so much? Because in today's marketplace, sameness is death. Think about your own experience. How many times have you walked past a store with a vague sign like gifts, home decor, and more? Or trendy boutique? Do you remember them? Do you know what makes them special? Probably not. If you don't remember them, chances are you don't shop there. And if you're not memorable enough for people to want to come in and shop, then what's the point? Customers are bombarded with choices every day, and they don't have the time or energy to figure out what makes your shop different. That's your job. Jantsch explains differentiation is not a tactic. It's the foundation of your strategy. Independent retailers often assume their products alone will set them apart. But the reality is, unless you invented something brand new, there are probably a dozen other places where people can buy something similar. Differentiation comes from how you position yourself in your customer's mind. For example, 2 coffee shops in the same block both sell lattes. One could be the cozy neighborhood hangout, while the other could be the quick in-and-out shop for busy commuters. Same product, different positioning. The difference isn't the coffee, it's the story they tell and the experience that they deliver. Here's the kicker: if you don't define your difference, your customers will. And they might define it as, well, it's the same thing, but one's more expensive than the other. A quick related story. There's a coffee shop that I walk by on my way home from dropping off little Miss Main Street at daycare. It's a cute little spot. It always has a few people in it, so I decided to stop in one day. I got my normal order and a breakfast sandwich, and let me tell you, it was good. Incredible coffee, amazing sandwich, but it was also around $25, which is crazy expensive even for a high cost of living urban area like ours. A month or so later, my wife and I went in together. Same thing, fantastic coffee and breakfast, but it set us back financially. We both decided, while this is good, we cannot justify the cost of coming back. Well, upon looking it up in order to talk to you all about, I found that it was started by a Michelin star chef who has worked at some of the best restaurants in the whole city. That's a game changer. That's marketable. That's something that I had to find out on my own. Their marketing calls it a cozy coffee shop. I'm not paying those prices for that. If it said something like, a world-class chef brings you the best breakfast that you'll ever have, that's magnetic. That's something that I would pay for. Not daily. It would be a treat yourself, but I certainly wouldn't have sworn off of it because of the price. That's why crafting a clear, compelling, talking logo is so powerful. It gives you ownership over your story. It can change the narrative around your business. So what exactly is a talking logo? It's not a jingle. It's not even your actual logo design. It's a phrase, a short, simple statement that communicates your difference in a way that your customers can remember and repeat. Jantsch describes it as a core marketing message that quickly communicates your value and positions your business in the mind of your ideal customer. See how all of this is connecting together? Think of it as your elevator pitch boiled down to one sentence. The kind of sentence that if your customer told a friend about you, they could repeat it word for word. For example, a jewelry shop might say, "Handmade treasures that tell your story." A bookstore might say, "Books you'll love from people who know your name." A pet supply store might say, "Happy, healthy pets start here." The best talking logos do three things. They communicate who you serve, they highlight what you provide, and they emphasize why it matters. And here's the test. If your talking logo could also describe your competitors, it's not strong enough. Let's dig into the process of creating your own talking logo. Step 1, start with your ideal customer. Remember this back in episode 2? Everything starts with your perfect customer. Your talking logo should speak directly to them. Ask, what do they value most? What problems are you trying to solve for them? Step 2, identify your core difference. What do you do better, faster, friendlier, or more uniquely than anybody else? Maybe it's product quality, maybe it's your service, maybe it's the community experience. Whatever it is, you should bake that into your talking logo. Step 3, make it simple and repeatable. Your talking logo isn't an essay. It's not a mission statement. It's a phrase that someone can say, remember, and after hearing it one time, be able to tell their friends about it. Aim for under 10 words. Step 4, test for emotion. A good talking logo doesn't just inform, it resonates. Does your ideal customer feel understood, excited, or curious when hearing it? So let's look at some examples of talking logos in action. For a toy store, instead of saying something like, "We sell toys," their talking logo could be sparking joy and creativity in every child. For a kitchen supply store, instead of saying something like cookware and utensils, it could be helping you make meals worth remembering. A clothing boutique could say something instead of women's fashion, it could be confidence you can wear. Notice how each of these examples go beyond what they're selling to why it matters. Some common mistakes that people made and things to avoid are being too generic. Quality products at affordable prices, everyone says that. It's meaningless. It sounds like you're talking about Ross. Something that is maybe too complicated. If people can't repeat it, then it won't stick, and they won't be able to tell their friends about it, and they won't remember it. Something that's too self-focused. It's not about what you want to say, it's about what your customer needs to hear. Jantsch sums this all up by saying, a talking logo makes it easy for people to tell others what you do and why you matter. So let me share a few real-life examples from towns that I have visited. In Noblesville, Indiana, I met a retailer who owned a shop filled with locally made products, candles, art, gifts. Instead of saying, "We sell handmade items," she positioned her store with the phrase, "Gifts with hometown heartbeat." That's a talking logo. It's short, it's emotional, and it tells you immediately why you'd want to shop there instead of going to somewhere like Amazon. In Stillwater, Minnesota, I came across a toy store that could have leaned into the usual toys for kids angle. Instead, their focus was on play as learning. Their talking logo, growing minds through play. Every parent who walked in immediately understood the difference. And in Franklin, Tennessee, I visited a bookstore whose shelves looked a lot like any other indie bookstore, but their positioning was personal service. Their phrase was stories handpicked for you. And they lived it. The staff would spend time, sometimes 20 minutes, helping you pick out the right book as a gift or something that you'd want to read. That one sentence captured their brand and set them apart. These examples prove that your talking logo isn't just a clever line, it's a commitment. It has to reflect reality. If you promise confidence you can wear, then your staff better be trained to help customers find flattering styles. For my local coffee shop, if they said it was the best breakfast that you'll ever have, it better be a darn good breakfast. All right, let's bring it home with some action steps. Here are 3 things that you can do this week to start crafting your talking logo. Number 1, ask your best customers. Ask 5 loyal customers. When you tell a friend about us, what do you say? Write down their words. Patterns will emerge from that. That's the language that you should start to use because it's something that is natural and native to those that are already talking about your store. Draft 3 different options. Write 3 short phrases that describe what makes your store unique. Share them with your staff or with trusted customers and see which one resonates. They might have some feedback for you. They might think, well, this, but not that. They'll give you good understanding of what your talking logo should be. And then test it out loud. Use it in conversation this week. When someone asks you what you do, try responding with your talking logo. Does it roll off the tongue? Does it spark curiosity? If yes, then you're on the right track. If it's awkward to say, or you kind of have to force yourself to say these words, then maybe it's time to go back to the drawing board. Remember, this isn't about clever slogans, it's about clarity. As Jantsch reminds us, clarity attracts, confusion repels. So that's it for episode 3 of our Duct Tape Marketing series. Today we talked about differentiation, the power of a talking logo, and how to craft a simple, memorable phrase that makes your store stand out in a crowded marketplace. Next week, we'll be diving into content marketing, why creating useful, engaging content is the currency of trust, and how independent retailers can do it without spending hours writing blogs or making TikToks. If you found today's episode helpful, share it with another retailer who needs help standing out. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a quick review. It goes a really long way. It's like giving me my own referral. You can also find resources from Heart on Main Street, our webinars, and a whole lot more at heartonmainstreet.org. Until next time, stay safe, shop local, and keep your heart on Main Street. This episode was written, produced, researched, and edited by me, Patrick Keiser, with a very special thanks to John Jantsch in his book, Duct Tape Marketing. For more information about Heart on Main Street, you can visit www.heartonmainstreet.org, and you can contact us at contact@heartonmainstreet.org. Thanks. Bye.